deal with a new way of forming or showing data. If you can add and subtract and read carefully, you'll be fine. But a lot of people read too quickly and they get frustrated. So a two-way table shows data from one sample as it relates to two different categories. So they have the same group of people and they ask them two different questions. One category is represented by the row and one is represented by the column. Now, it is important that you know the difference between rows and columns. Which way do rows run? Horizontally, nice. And columns then run vertically. Very good. So here's an example of a two-way table. It shows the results of a survey about drama and art participation. 146 kids were surveyed. Go ahead. So they talked to 146 kids, and every single kid they said, are you in drama or not drama? And they took the survey, and then they said, are you in art or are you not in art? And this is the data they got. Okay? How many students participated in drama but not art? 38. Very good. These first couple of questions are just getting you used to reading at a table. They yes to drama, but no to art, 38. How many students participate in art, but not drama? 68. How many kids participate in art? 94. Nicely done. I didn't tell you anything about drama, right? All I said was they participate in art. So art total is 94. Cool. The partially completed two-way table shows the results of a survey in which students were asked if they own a skateboard and if they own a bike. Okay? So they put in the information, and we need to fill in the blanks. Oops, sorry. Every row should add up to the total. Every column should add up to the total. So I'm going to... Very good. If I take 89 minus 42, I get... Say again? 47. So that would go in this here. What's my next one? Say it again. We could do 47 plus 21 would give me 68. That's the total of no skateboard. Okay, 68 plus 57, 125. What'd you say, Manny, over there? I heard you say something. Or was that the same thing? Okay. Another one. 57 minus 42. That would work. 15. Okay. 15 plus 21, 36. Now, there's a way you could double check your work. Easily, I'd go right here. 89 plus 36. Does it give you 125? Every column should add to get your total. Every row should add to get your total. Okay? Good job. If I'm going to say the tricky part about this is they're also going to give us the information in sentence format and a blank table. And then we have to fill it in. Okay? This is where it's so important that you read carefully. Felipe surveyed students at his school. He found 78 students own a cell phone, and 57 of those students own a tablet. There are 70 students that own a tablet. 9 students do not own either device. So now I have to take the information and put those numbers, 78, 57, 70, and 9, don't let them fool you. They typed it out, right? Need to go into that table so I can do like we did on the last one and fill out the rest. Give me one. What you got?
No tablet, no cell phone.
No tablet, no cell phone, he says is 9. Agree or disagree? Agree. Nicely done. So that takes care of my 9. Cell phone? No tablet? Yeah, don't do any adding or subtracting. What goes here? Do you think 78 goes here? Okay, so cell phone, no tablet. He found that 78 students own a cell phone. Pause. Do you know anything about those 78 kids other than the cell phone? So where does 78 go?
And the first one.
That's your cell phone total. At that point, we don't know anything else about them. Then it goes on to say 57 of those students. Well, those students are the cell phone students, own a tablet. So cell phone, tablet would be 57. There are 70 students that own a tablet. Here?
Yeah.
Are you sure they don't own a cell phone?
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about a cell phone, right? So this just says 70 students own a tablet. So tablet, I can't fill in these. I have 70 here. See where you have to pause and break apart your sentences there? On your own, add and subtract to fill in the blanks. How many students have a cell phone but no tablet? 21. How many have no cell phone but yes, a tablet? 13. How many total no cell phones? 22. Total no tablet? 30 total kids. Does that add both directions? Yes. Okay. I'm going to read this next one out loud. I want you to fill in the what is there, four numbers on your own. Don't do anything else because you want to make sure they're in the right spot, and then we'll check those first. Eloise surveyed students in her cafeteria and found that 38 males agree with the new cafeteria rules, while 70 do not. There were 92 females surveyed, and 41 of them agree with the new cafeteria rules. Complete the two-way table. Just put those four numbers in and hold off for just a second, because if you have those in the wrong spot, the rest of the table is not going to work. Who can tell me where a number goes? Mason? Agree? Yes, okay. Nicely done. Ava?
30 would it be males and then 38 and then 12, 70. So disagree. Could be one from the agree and then one from the disagree.
So 38 is going to go here,
Yeah.
and 70 go here.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Agree.
Yeah. Gable? Agree right here. Cool. Fill it in. I got 108, 51, 79, 121, 200. Okay. Do we need another practice, Logan?
How'd you get the bottom numbers? So it's like the adding and subtracting parts.
You just add them straight down. This plus this equals this. Yep. Do you want to do that last one? You're good, okay? All right. So let's flip it over to that last page there. So as much as that data is great to have in there, what do you do with it? So a two-way table can show ratios or relative frequencies. Relative frequencies rather than the actual values. How often does something happen? So frequency is the amount of it happening. Okay? I think this is supposed to be relative frequencies again. Relative frequencies is the ratio of the subtotal to the total. You guys have done that with percentages, right? Part over whole, part over whole. So relative frequencies can be written as a fraction, a decimal, wow, if I can write this, decimal, or percentage. For us, we want them written as a decimal. In this lesson, we're going to write them as a decimal. Okay? Here's why it's so important if you know the difference between rows and columns. So it says find the relative frequency by column. Whoops, you guys reminded me columns run which direction? Up and down. So I'm going to work with this. Now, I don't need to find the relative frequency of the total column. That's not going to do any good for me. So remember, they said part divided by whole. So in play a sport, the part on the honor roll is 250. The whole is 295. So we're going to take 250 divided by 295 and round to the nearest hundredth. Round to the nearest hundredth. What you got, Grady? So 8.5, right? Anybody else get 8.5? Let's continue in that column. The part would be 45. The whole would be 295. 45 divided by 295. 0.15. And you still have to do the last one. The part is 295. The whole is 295, which is 1.00. Because it's rounded to the hundredth, put 0.00. Here's an easy thing you can check. These two decimals should equal 1, even with rounding, because this is part of them and this is the other part. Does that make sense? So 0.85 plus 0.15, yes, equal 1. Do not play a sport on your own. Find those three relative frequencies for me. Students that do not play a sport but are on the honor roll relative frequency. So then I would guess this one's 0.21. Okay. An easy way to double check, if I do that subtraction in my head, this better work out with my decimal there. Okay. Question.
Would it be okay if we got like 1.01, or does that mean?
You shouldn't get 1.01 with the rounding.
I was just like,
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. Good thought. All right. Now this one says relative frequency by rows. So we're really going the other direction now. Now, when we went by column, I didn't need the total column. Guess what? When I go by rows, I don't need the total row. Now, this is the same data, but this time we're working a different direction. So for on the honor roll, what's my part, what's my whole? Bingo. Fill out both rows for me. Fill out both rows for me. All right, on the honor roll, play a sport. 6-0, 6-8. Do not play a sport. 3-2, and then the total would be 1.00. Not on the honor roll, play a sport. 6-0. 0.40 then? And 1.0. Okay, so it's still like, all right, so I calculate these relative frequencies, which is comparing the part to the whole, but how does that help us? We're able to draw conclusions. Just because this number here is higher, notice its percentage is lower. Does that make sense? Or its decimal is lower. So even though it's 115, when you compare, yeah, it's 115 out of 365 versus 30 out of 75. So even though it's a smaller group, they're still happening more frequently. So it's able to compare then everybody to each other based on percentages. Okay? We couldn't go over to Lennox and say, we have 7 times as many people out for football as you guys do. Well, yeah, guess what? We have 7 times as many students as they do too, right? We couldn't compare those. But if we did it in a frequency, that are like a relative frequency part out of whole, we could compare them. So here's the results of a survey that asked students and adults at school whether they preferred to use a tablet. On your own, find the relative frequency by row. So same thing we just did, go by row. Students' tablet. Student's laptop. Okay. Adult's tablet. 2 what? 5.9. I heard a 2. Sorry. And adult's laptop. 4.1. Okay. Now, the whole purpose of doing this is to be able to compare data. Because we calculated by row, we have to talk about those labeled first. So we're really comparing students to adults and what they prefer. So the question is, are students or adults more likely to prefer laptops? Why do you say that? Very good. We look at students versus adults under laptop. Which one of these is larger? Adults is larger. So adults, we would say the relative frequency is higher. All right, last one. I'm going to read it out loud. You're going to go start to finish, and then we're going to check it out loud before you go start on your homework. The two-way table shows the data from a survey about the number of students enrolled in band and art class. Find the relative frequencies by column. Is a student that is enrolled in band or not enrolled in band more likely to be enrolled in art class? Relative frequencies by columns, then answer that question after you've made those calculations. let's go down band column. Band and art. Band and no art.
0.25.
No band and art.
0.56.
No band, no art.
0.4.
Okay, is a student enrolled in band or not enrolled in band more likely to be in art? Not enrolled in band. We're looking at art class and we're comparing 0.31 to 0.56. 0.56 is definitely larger. Questions? One thing that's going to be useful to you before I turn you loose. You guys know what a Venn diagram is, right? You have like the two circles, and it's usually on here. So like, let's just say I'm going to put on here cats, dogs, right? Okay. If I asked you, do you like cats? Yes or no? Do you like dogs? Yes or no? Okay. So the number that is out here, what do you know about that number? They only like cats. They said yes to cats, but no to dogs, right? Because they're not part of the dog circle. What about this one? Oh, geez. They only like dogs. What do you know about cats? They don't like cats. So they said yes to dogs, no to cats. Then this section right here means they said yes to both, okay? What if I told you what if I told you 50 kids were interviewed? Everybody had to answer. Some said no to, where is that found on a Venn diagram? They could have said no dogs and no cats, right? It is going to be like out here. This means no to both. Okay? So just make sure that, I just wanted to make sure you knew how to read a Venn diagram, which clearly you guys do know what you're doing. Okay? Again, as I said, chapter 9 is a lot of reading the entire problem to make sure you answer the whole thing. All right, I'll grab you your worksheet here.